I am Slick Nick, and this is the video you have been waiting for. You are wanting to learn the 7 things that makes a man attractive. Now, to be clear, we're not specifically only talking about physical traits. We're talking about the big picture, what makes a man attractive. Because on this channel, you can look at older videos, I interviewed females asking them the question, what makes a man attractive? And often, it wasn't until the 4th or 5th thing before they actually mentioned how the man looks. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the perspective of, what if you were in a room and you saw an attractive female and you wanted to go talk to her and you wanted her to perceive you as attractive? These are those 7 things. And for what it's worth, I'm of a generation where I met my wife in real life in a room. There was no online dating situation. We just met in real life. And because of my ability to go over there and for her to find me attractive, it worked. And actually last week makes 13 years that we've been married. So here we go. Here are the 7 things. I wrote them down on this piece of paper here this morning. I just know them off the top of my head. So in 2021, what are the 7 things that make you attractive? And please know, before I get into this list, this is red pill. That's who I am. I'm someone who looks at reality, accepts it as it is, and thinks, here's the things I can't control, here's the things I can control. So this is not a black pill list. There will be people in the comments who leave black pill comments. Black pill meaning, there is no hope, there's nothing we can do. And then there's gonna be the blue pill, who say, oh, well, you can improve it if you pay money and get this surgery or take this pill, or no. With what you already naturally have, how can you improve things? This is the red pill answer of what makes men physically attractive and beyond. Because it's not just about being physically attractive. That's what a lot of boys conflate with a man being attractive. It's a lot more than that. But in this scenario, you're trying to attract a woman in the room, I'll give you credit for it. I'll go ahead and say, your physical appearance will be the first thing she would notice. So let's break it down, and I already did another video where I broke it down into basically 5 things, but let's go through these real quick. Number 1 is that you're physically fit, because you totally have control over that as far as being physically attractive. That you're physically fit, that you're dressed nicely, you don't have oversized floppy clothes that are outdated. That your hair is as short as it needs to be. If you're balding, you shave it off. If you've got a widow's peak like this, kind of go for a simple hairstyle like this. If you can have a perfect straight across hairline, you might want to experiment with a little bit longer, but the concept is the hair's not in your face, it's short on the sides and the back, it's masculine, the opposite of a female's hairstyle. That you're smiling, because if you're smiling and a female sees that, then you're inviting. She wants to see that you're smiling because you also appear to be confident. And then lastly, that you've got good hygiene, but that's an insult to you for me to say that, right? You know that you need to smell good and not have anything in your teeth and to have already brushed your teeth and have already taken a shower. You don't need me to tell you that, but ultimately, I would say those are the things that upon physical meeting, those are the things she's gonna notice. Now, keep in mind, there's gonna be people who right now at 3:43 in the video are going to make a whole thing about, well, if you're not over 6 foot tall, this is a guy who's 5'9", well, if you have any hair loss at all, guy with widow's peak, well, if your nose is crooked, if your teeth are crooked, that's what people say who have victim mentalities. We're talking about things you actually can control. You can control being physically fit and dressing nice and having hair that's short enough and smiling and having good hygiene. So that's the number 1. Let's go through the rest of these. I wanted to spend the most attention on that one because I know that most of my viewers make a big deal about that. And I'll give it to you. That's the first impression. Cool. Well, those are the things you can actually focus on because you can control them. So number 2, that you appear to be confident. By confident, that means decisive, committed, ambitious. Now, black pill people right here would say, oh, well, you got to make a lot of money. Well, I'm red pill. So what I'm saying is, it's not so much how much money you make, but that you're ambitious. Do you have a job? What do you plan to have for a job? What do you plan to have for a career? What are you working on? What are you working towards? Women find that very attractive. But under the umbrella of being confident, I want to remind you that the outside world cannot tell the difference between real confidence or fake confidence. If you appear to be confident, you're confident. That's all they know. Now, granted, I will go through the next list because a lot of this backs up what a confident man looks like anyway. So number 3, a good communicator. So that you're focused on others, not on yourself, that you can make a person laugh, because being funny is a sign of confidence. And you know what's funny? You don't even have to be saying something funny. You can just be smiling and just kind of moving your arms around and telling a very normal story, but you make it seem like it's funny. And especially if you start laughing, then naturally they're going to smile and nod and go along with it. Because in reality, that's how people actually do. They're not actually really telling jokes. Isn't that funny? So there you go. There's a prime example of that. All right. Next, number 4, being emotionally intelligent. So you know to assign emotions when they belong to something, but for the most part, most things do not deserve emotion. So if you're driving the car and someone flips you off in the car next to you, if anything, you're just gonna laugh about it because that person's having a bad day. Good thing it's not me. You don't take things personally. You don't get offended. You don't get your feelings hurt. You're not disrespected, because every time you do, that is your choice to be that way, and that makes you weak. So knowing to accept emotion is part of life, absolutely, but rarely use it. When something sad happens, cry. When something exciting happens, be excited, and everything in between. But ultimately, when you abuse emotions like a boy, like a child, that makes you unattractive. So it's a matter of being in control of your own emotions. Number 5, that you respect women and other men. I mean, this is pretty obvious. We know this. This is Me Too culture. We know this. But it's not only about treating women with respect, but also other men with respect. If you are constantly competing with other men and trying to prove them wrong and debating, then it just shows that you're immature. I made a video about this recently, that when it comes to trying to prove someone wrong, even if you succeed, you don't get the respect. And that's ultimately what you want as a man. You want people to respect you. That's what you want. You can't do that if you're proving them wrong. So you have to be comfortable with letting other people be wrong. You may say, well, what I've learned, what my experience is this. And if they say, no, you're wrong, then let them be wrong about you being wrong. It's totally okay. But when another man succeeds, you cheer him on, because that makes you more attractive even to women who see that you're not jealous, that you actually are happy for other people when they succeed. And then lastly, number 7, leadership qualities. I mean, this is especially true for men, just like so many things on this list. That you're positive, that you're encouraging, that you're motivating, that you're helping other people become a better version of themselves. One of the things I always say on this channel, you're not good enough. Don't just be you. Evolve to a better version of yourself. I wrote a song on this channel. You can check it out, called 3-Legged Dog, and it's exactly about that. It's good to know who you are, but ultimately, you have to always be evolving. Last thing I want to leave you with, what does all this come down to? It comes down to identity. It comes to, you can't be confident if you don't have all these things. And so here's a little bonus footage, and then that's the end of the video. Another way we could sum this up is someone would say, well, Nick, I have a low self-esteem. Okay, well then here's what you can do about it. You can figure out what you're not good at, because you're definitely not good at certain things. I'm horrible at math and science, and I know that, but I'm really good at communicating, at entertaining, at playing music and writing songs. I can do certain things that people would be really hard for other people. So you have a low self-esteem, it's hard to know who you even are. Well, who are you not? What are you not good at? What does not interest you? By default, on the other end of the spectrum, probably those other things are going to be the things that you enjoy and that are a true expression of who you are. And what you're doing is you're figuring out your identity. So ultimately, you've watched a video on things that makes a man attractive, whether it was physical and or beyond that. But ultimately, one way we could sum this up is a man who knows who he is. And a man who knows who he is knows what he's bad at. He knows what he's good at. He knows when to fight and when not to fight. He knows when to fight for someone else and when not to. It comes down to identity, male identity. And largely, it's based on you believing in yourself and figuring out who you are. But ultimately, if you need a cheat sheet, you just do the things I mentioned in this video. Your comments belong right here.